Hi everyone, in this video we are going to show you how to transplant a Drosera plant, that is also known as Sundew, or also a dionaea plant, also known as Venus Flytrap. As you can see here, this plant has reached an adult state, and you will see that the leaves will try to get out of the pod. You see that it's growing like outside of the substrate. So when we get to this point, it is time to transplant the plant. So what you're going to do in order to do this is to get a new substrate. Of course, we sell a kit, a transplanting kit that consists of the substrate and also a bigger pot, of course, because you will have to fill the pot with the new substrate. So what you have to do is to open the bag of substrate and fill around 1/3 of the pot. Let's say less than half of it with the substrate, and we have to make sure that it is very well compressed. So we have to put some pressure on the substrate in order for it to be compact and to allow it to absorb water. Okay, because you will do this before doing the transplant, in like 48 hours before. So when we fill it, like I said before, 1/3 to 1/2 of the pot with the substrate, we have to push with our fingers. We put pressure on it. We push, and once we make sure that this is very compact, we just have to leave it for 48 hours to absorb water. How are we going to do that? We will have to put our pot into a tray like this one, this plastic one. So what you're going to do is to put the water inside the tray and then the pot. So it's going to come up the water. It's very simple. It's capillarity. So 48 hours after we do this, you will see that the substrate is wet. It's the difference between one and the other. Okay, so once the substrate is wet enough, we are able to do our transplant. So how are we going to do this? Get a knife like this one that I have here in my hand. You see it? So you get a knife like this one, and you will have to start removing your plant carefully from the pot. We have to make sure that we don't hurt the plant. You have to do this very carefully. You know, just put the knife straight into the pot and do not let it get curved, because you may hurt the roots. So carefully introduce the knife and start doing some pressure up, okay, like I'm doing here, you see? So with your knife, carefully do some pressure and try to get the biggest portion of substrate you can. Here I have a very good one. I have a very good portion of substrate here. So now once you get this, you will see that you can put it into your new pot. Make sure that you have room enough. If you do not, just with your fingers do some more room here and put the plant onto the new substrate, okay, like I'm doing here, and push. You have to always push. Now, as you can see here, my plant is very well put here, but there are holes. So what you're going to do now is to get the substrate and start filling the holes that will remain here, and just complete the spaces that are without substrate. Now, in order to do this, you may be touching the leaves with the substrate. Don't worry about that. This is normal. Doesn't matter if you bury some leaves. This, of course, the transplanting itself is stressful for the plant, but however, it doesn't matter if you bury some leaves or some of them get a little bit hurt. The plant will recover afterwards. You know that when the plant has an adult state, the most important thing you have to do is to transplant it, because you have to let the roots keep growing. So if you happen to hurt one or two leaves or to bury some of them, just do not worry. After some days the plant will recover. Of course, it has to adapt to the new environment that you're doing here. but it will be okay. So as you see here, I'm pushing. You always have to push the substrate, and this is because the water is going to climb the pot by capillarity. So it is a requirement that the substrate is very well compact. Okay, so you fill all the spaces till the top of the pot. You see how I'm doing here. Make sure that the plant is in a good position, and we push all the time till this is very compact. Look at this, it's beautiful. Once you have all the spaces that were empty with the substrate, like this. See here, I push. So this new plant will have a lot of space to keep growing now. See here, see that I have buried some of the leaves, but it doesn't matter, as I said before. So now you will have to put your plant into the tray again, and remember that you only have to water your plant in the tray. So you put the water in here and it's going to come up. You see that now it's dry, but after a couple of days this substrate is going to be wet as well. So this is more or less how to transplant a dionaea or Sundew plant, or also a Venus flytrap. Please remember to follow us on facebook.com/carnivorous or carnivorous.com.